WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly,
the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow, you know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore.
Shut up!
There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon here with you, flying solo today as Lucas is unavailable. He's doing some stuff down at the 2300 Arena with Ring of Honor. Yes, tonight they have their Philadelphia Excellence event. That's going to be starting at 6 o'clock Eastern at the 2300 Arena, and they'll have a meet and greet 2 hours beforehand where you can see folks like the Young Bucks as well as Cody just before their all-in event next week. Also, Ring of Honor World Champion Jay Lethal, the Villain Marty Scurll, Tenille Dashwood, Adam Hangman Page, best friends Chucky T and Trent Beretta, also Shane Hurricane Helms, just to name a few. And the card itself, well, it's looking pretty doggone good, to say the least here. A fight without honor between Cheeseburger and Will Ferreira. Also a proving ground match between Sumi Sakai and Tasha Steelz. Also, Best Friends taking on The Boys. Oh, that should be a goodie. Also, The Kingdom against Coast to Coast, Shaheem Ali and LSG, a couple of Monster Factory alums. Also, Kenny King taking on Adam Page. Marty Scurll against Shane Hurricane Helms. The television title, the world television title on the line, Aaron Solo against Punishment Martinez. You can tell who I'm favoring in that one. Also, the ROH World Six-Man Championship on the line. Silas Young and the Bouncers taking on the Bullet Club of the Young Bucks and Cody. Certainly should be a goodie. Definitely want to go and check that one out. And if you see Twitch down there, say hello. So now that I've spent the first 2 minutes putting Twitch over, let's talk a little SummerSlam, because that was the big fallout over the course of the week here. And thanks to the self-professed Fugazi wrestling fan Mike Samsel, he twisted my arm last minute to hop the train up to New York and check out the sights for myself in person, which is something that I wasn't quite planning on doing, but coercion is an interesting thing. So yeah, the 13 matches that were on the card at the Barclays Center, and I'll give you my kind of in-person reaction to everything that was going on. First off, you had the pre-show, which, yes, 2 hours of pre-show. That's something that I understand they do it just for the Big Four, but it's a little much. I feel like I say that every time, especially given that the doors open for these events right around 5 o'clock when they start, so those pre-show matches, for the most part, are done to considerably less than full capacity house, and I feel bad for those first ones because generally you're looking at maybe a 15%, if that, of the people in the audience at the time that first match goes on. I don't know, because there's so much security and everything you have to go through with the arenas these days. It's, I don't know, something that I guess has perturbed me for a little while, but then again, seeing it in person, it's I wish that there was a way to change that where maybe they start at, 5:30 and do a half hour of the talking and then have the matches between 6 and 7 or something along those lines. Maybe extend it a little, but not so much, especially given that you know that you're going to have a roughly 4-hour pay-per-view along with the 2-hour pre-show. It's just, I know I've said this before, too much of a good thing. At least that's my take on it. But Almas and Vega taking on and defeating Rusev and Lana. I'd picked that one wrong. Lucas got that right. The summary of the predictions starting to go wrong. Lucas actually outpicking me 7 for 13 versus my 6 for 13. And now for the year, we are tied up at 49 and 37. Who'd have thunk it? All right, the Cruiserweight title was next. Cedric Alexander beating Drew Gulak. That one went pretty good for about a little over 10 minutes. And then a team that I can't help but get behind. I guess it's because it's hokey and corny, but it just works for me. B Team, go, 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 indeed. They retained the Raw Tag titles, beating the Revival. And I don't know, I felt that it was one of those rare moments where I felt like an idiot, just in a good way, in a giddy, just complete, unashamed fandom, which is something that is a little bit rarer these days, being in the broadcast journalism end of things. Also, once we got to the main show, well, things didn't go great for the first few picks. Seth Rollins winning the Intercontinental Championship over Dolph Ziggler. The New Day beating the Bludgeon Brothers by disqualification in a SmackDown Tag Team title match, and we'll talk a little bit more about the fallout from that coming up later in the hour here. Also, Braun Strowman not just beating Kevin Owens, but decimating him in under 2 minutes to retain the Money in the Bank contract, which would be attempted to be cashed in a little bit later in the night. More on that coming up. Charlotte Flair, she is your new SmackDown Women's Champion, beating Becky Lynch and Carmella, defending champion in the SmackDown Women's title match. That got me off of a 3-match schneid, as, the previous one's not exactly going my way. Lucas, however, at that point was 4 in a row, but then he would turn things around, and me not quite as much. The WWE title match, man, did that get personal, and the audience ate it up. Now, granted, this was a lot of fans who were salivating over a Samoa Joe and AJ Styles match, and very hilariously, I'm pretty sure it made it onto the camera because it was pretty audible of a chant, but the instances that they were chanting TNA, TNA, as you have two of the top stars of Impact Wrestling from a decade ago facing off for the WWE Championship. It's one of those surreal, never thought you'd see it happen moments, and I think there were a few people in the audience that were kind of secretly hoping for a Christopher Daniels run-in just to really cement that point home, but unrealistically that obviously wasn't going to happen. But Samoa Joe getting personal, bringing AJ Styles' wife and child into the mix, the youngest kid who was there. And yeah, that ended up leading to a disqualification as Styles understandably lost his cool and decimated Samoa Joe with a chair after pretty much just diving at him through the barricade in a pretty cool thing there. So Styles retaining, but Samoa Joe winning the match, so I took the loss on that, and Lucas getting the victory in terms of predictions. Then a match that the fans weren't as behind as you would expect them to be in The Miz and Daniel Bryan. Now, it was a great match, and I wrongly thought that Bryan would win, and in hindsight, figuring that there's a question of the contract renewal coming up, that it makes sense for The Miz to win here, but I think a lot of the fans were a little hesitant to get into the match. One, because it started off on the slower side, a little bit more deliberate of a pace, a little more methodical. But secondly, she was kind of hard to miss at ringside there. But Maurice, Miz's wife, with her rather brightly colored dress. With her presence at ringside, the fans pretty much realized that there was going to be some sort of chicanery involving Maurice, and it turns out that there was. So it was kind of hard to get behind a match that you knew wasn't going to end cleanly. And I think that was part of the reaction, as well as the slow start to the match. And the foreign object that was so cleanly, it was so easily hidden that I don't think anybody necessarily saw it, including the camera replay. From what I'd seen, it was kind of hard to go, oh, that's what it was. She had passed something to him, but I guess when you're that close to somebody who is, in this case, your valet, it's a little bit easier to get those things passed along when you have a brief moment of intimacy, whereas you wouldn't necessarily see something like that with I don't know, Freddie Blassie and and one of his wrestlers, or even somewhat more currently Bobby the Brain Heenan or something like that. You wouldn't see him necessarily doing that with with Andre the Giant, or I don't know, pick somebody from the Heenan family, I suppose. So it's a little bit of a different feel and a different flair there. Also, in another really, really short match, Finn Balor bringing out the demon gimmick, and you have it's a cool thing to see in person with the low smoke that just kind of hovers, and it was a really cool effect. Except the entrance took longer than the match did, as he defeated Baron Corbin in just a little over a minute and a half, and I think a lot of people, myself included, thought that was going to be the kind of the match to go take care of concessions and other things, as there tends to be those kind of come down matches from a bigger moment. But with it being so short, it was a little bit perplexing, and I'll be honest, I was heading to the concessions, and all of a sudden the match was over just that quickly. Which led to the U.S. title match, and Shinsuke Nakamura beating Jeff Hardy, and this was another one that the fans were really into just because of both wrestlers involved, and it was another instance of the fans in attendance cheering the bad guy, or at least supporting the bad guy, singing along to his theme song as they were used to doing when he was a good guy. I guess some things never go away necessarily, and it was good to hear Jeff Hardy, hear and see Jeff Hardy back in attendance, although the Swanton Bomb on the edge of the apron. This is something I'm going to rant on just for a little bit here, because there were a lot of matches that had edge of the apron bumps that were being taken on it. Now, wrestlers out there, indie wrestlers, whoever else may be tuning in here, you don't need to get the fans' attention by destroying your bodies on that part of the ring. Even the children are smart enough to know that, yes, the middle of the ring has a little, emphasis on little, more give, being you have those 18 to 20-foot boards, depending on what ring you have. WWE, it's 20 feet, but most other places, 18. That there's that a little bit of give by going in the middle that isn't there by being at the edge. Your careers tend to be short in professional wrestling. Why shorten them even further by going that extra mile to destroy your body that much more, even in a huge pay-per-view setting? I don't get it. A lot of people were doing it. That seems to be a trend right now, and I don't think it's a positive one. So if you're thinking about having a match where you're going to go to that edge of the apron, think again. Try another way to garner the fans' attention. Let your emotion bring them in. Don't, I'm going to use the Ric Flair line from his autobiography, don't be a glorified stuntman. Okay, I'm done my little rant there with that. But Nakamura ending up beating Jeff Hardy and still has the U.S. title. And then in a rather short match, which I guess isn't that surprising given her UFC background, but Ronda Rousey beating Alexa Bliss to become the new Raw Women's Champion. And a nice touch beforehand was having Natalya come out, and she was at ringside. And as an added twist that brought tears to my eyes, was she had made her way to ringside wearing her late father, Jim the Anvil Neidhart's jacket that he had worn when he won the tag team titles back at SummerSlam 1990, which oddly enough was at the Spectrum here in Philadelphia. Man, that was a throwback too. But yeah, that pink and black jacket, just a very emotional moment, and thankfully, even though the crowd hasn't exactly been the most supportive of Natalya over the years, at least the rather rough Brooklyn crowd was respectful of Natalya, as that was her first public appearance since her father's passing a week earlier. So that is certainly good to be good on them to have her make that appearance, get that little bit of respect, and move on from there. And then there was the main event. Oh yes, the one that the crowd was salivating for. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship in a match that the fans were looking and hoping to hijack, as there was tons of resentment for Roman Reigns, as well as quite a bit of resentment for Brock Lesnar for being part-time, as I might know. I joke with Lucas about quite a bit of him being part-time, but yeah, at least at least Lucas shows up more than 10 times a year. I know it doesn't seem that way sometimes, but yeah, no, that was the ongoing story, and with the rumors of Brock Lesnar going to UFC, well, the fans were looking to basically do to Lesnar in New York what they did to Lesnar and Goldberg at WrestleMania 20, and just hijack the match and give chants of "you both suck" and just boo vociferously and everything of that nature. However, WWE seemed to find an interesting way to get around that, as just before the match started, Braun Strowman's music hit, and in good guy fashion, basically said that whoever the winner of the match was, he's announcing already that he is going to cash in and take out whoever is left, which I understand where they're going with it, as opposed to making it a surprise, but isn't it still kind of a bad guyish thing to wait until the person's tired? But then on the same token, you have to be smart about it. I understand there's courage of not hitting somebody from behind and sneakily cashing in at that point, but I don't know. It's in a way kind of a bad guy thing to take advantage of somebody who's tired. If you're that good of a person and believe in yourself that much, that you should just be able to take them on straight up and beat them. And a lot of people thought initially that Strowman was going to come out, cash in immediately, and turn it into a triple threat match of Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman, but that did not happen. Instead, Strowman was at ringside, and at one point Brock Lesnar, taking his efforts on Strowman, and just completely decimated him, which then distracted long enough for Roman Reigns to be able to take advantage and win the Universal Championship. And the crowd, well, there was an initial cheer of, yay, we at least have a full-time champion at this point on the roster, but then it was, oh, but it's Roman Reigns. But before the crowd could get to that point of booing, there was this aura in the crowd of, okay, is Strowman going to get up? Is this match going to happen? Is it not going to happen? So that, along with the ramping up of Roman Reigns' music, was able to drown out any potential booing that there was, to get the moment that a lot of WWE fans were hoping wouldn't happen, of Roman Reigns closing out the pay-per-view as champion. And without getting booed vociferously, of course. So looking from in the live crowd, there was that anticipation of whether or not Strowman would get up after the beating from Brock Lesnar, and it wasn't until the copyright 2018 logo appeared on the bottom left corner of the screen on the overhead, which you also saw on the pay-per-view, that's when the booing started to pick up, as the realization had hit the Barclays Center crowd that there is not going to be another title match, that Roman Reigns is leaving the building as champion, and the fans were not thrilled with it. Although I will admit that Mike and I were enjoying the moment almost in a fiddling while the city burns kind of way, proverbially, and just watching the reactions of people who were not thrilled with it. And that continued leaving the building, on the way to the subway to get back to Penn Station to take the train back home. That sentiment had continued. One person outside of the arena was yelling, "Not my champion," almost in the same way that people were yelling, "Not my president," and that is just merely a comparison that has nothing to do with any political views of mine, and we're not going anywhere near there, so just leave it alone. There were, in some cases, there were people who were, including Samsel, were instigating a little bit. One particular one that had me cracking up was in taking a line from Degeneration X and making it their own, going, "If you're not down with that, we've got 2 words for you. Ooh, ah. Yeah, Samsel had a lot of fun yelling that a few times on the way to the subway and waiting for the train. Oh, that was fun and interesting. As he put it, we were drinking the Smark tears, in a sense. The people who were hoping to boo everything and basically be like the Statler and Waldorf of the Barclays Center and just rip and heckle everything, and they didn't get their chance because they were hoping that the one person that they did like, Braun Strowman, would come in and cash in and take the title, but it was not to be. So those last 3 matches, we got the picks right on that. As I said, 7-6 for Lucas, 6-7 for me. We're both 49-37 for the year as we look at SummerSlam. Now, coming up, we're going to take care of some business here because we're very late for a break. But we're going to look at the upcoming pay-per-view Hell in a Cell, also a little more info about the Super Showdown in Australia. And we've got some other news and notes coming your way as well, including a little NWA news, also a little bit furthering as far as the SmackDown tag titles, another TV series that got renewed, also some Impact news regarding some international TV tapings. Yeah, it's not just Ring of Honor, there's other stuff going on as well, plus all the usual stuff here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Next time you head down the shore, make Keenan's Irish Pub your favorite spot. Located in the heart of North Wildwood, Keenan's Irish Pub is 25,000 square feet of wall-to-wall fun. There's live entertainment 7 days a week and an extensive menu that even features sushi. So grab an ice-cold drink, listen to some live music, and catch the Baseball Insiders as they broadcast live on Sunday before Phillies baseball. Keenan's Irish Pub, 113 Old New Jersey Avenue in North Wildwood, where all the neighborhoods still meet.
I see it all the time. They leave early in the morning and come back very late.
Yeah, there's so many people living in that house. And that guy, he's always talking for them.
We need to report this.
Modern-day slavery is happening in our own backyard. Know the signs and join the Blue Campaign in the fight to end human trafficking. Call 1-866-347-2423 or go to www.dhs.gov/Blue Campaign for more information.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management. Hi, this is Merrill Reese, voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, asking you to join me and Delaware County Times beat reporter Bob Groats and a different Eagle each week for the Gwynedd Mercy University Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Listen on 1490 WBCB and 610 ESPN, or watch our video stream on Facebook Live as we broadcast each week from a different Chickies and Pete's location near you, right here on 1490 WBCB and 610 ESPN.
Hi, this is Smiling Lou Powers, here to invite you to join us every Wednesday as we broadcast Sunshine Music Memories live from the Philadelphia Protestant home in the Northeast. We'll be playing the music that you remember in a setting you will love. Philadelphia Protestant home is located at 6500 Tabor Road in the Northeast, and I will be there live every Wednesday, 10 a.m. till noon. Come out and listen, dance, and make some new friends. Sunshine Music Memories live from the Philadelphia Protestant home every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Hi, this is Brody McAndrew of the Neshaminy Redskins. Watch our games video streamed live at WBCBsports.com and brought to you by St. Mary's Medical Center and McCaffrey Ford.
He's got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so we might have to...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. Gonna break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you solo as Lucas is down at the 2300 Arena helping set up and take care of things for the Ring of Honor TV taping going on later this evening. So, yes, we talked a good amount of SummerSlam, and one thing that fell out from SummerSlam was the New Day winning the SmackDown tag titles on Tuesday, despite only getting the disqualification win on Sunday. And part of the reason for that was during that SummerSlam match, it was a reported arm injury that had occurred from Eric Rowan. According to Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com, that the fear amongst WWE talent is that Rowan suffered a bicep injury. The reason being Rowan was sidelined for 8 months back in 2016 after suffering a torn rotator cuff. So hopefully the prognosis isn't too bad and that this doesn't cut things off as they were getting going with the Bludgeon Brothers. Also, a little bit of an interesting WWE departure. Michael Luisi, no longer the head of WWE Studios. Deadline.com reporting that Luisi had a power struggle with WWE co-president Michelle Wilson that led to his departure. Luisi was in the position for 8 years, and for what it's worth, Luisi sold 12,461 shares of WWE stock earlier this week. But after the sale, he maintained just over 69,000 shares. So no shortage of cash for good old Michael Luisi there, and WWE not officially announcing his departure or his replacement, at least as of yet. Now, moving on to the pay-per-views coming up for WWE here. We've got the Hell in a Cell coming up in a few weeks here, actually 3 weeks from tomorrow. How quickly the time moves along here. It's going to be on September 16th. 2 matches announced so far. The WWE title rematch, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, and I don't believe it's officially been announced yet, but it looks like that will more than likely lead to being inside the Hell in a Cell structure. So that certainly should be interesting, especially given how much more personal things have gone with AJ's wife and children. And then keeping things in a family-related nature, another interesting mixed tag match that was announced. It's going to be Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella taking on The Miz and Maurice in a mixed tag match. So a little interesting as well, as I know a lot of people have been speculating how long is Daniel Bryan's contract going until. It's supposed to be up soon. Will he renew? Is he going to go to maybe Ring of Honor or New Japan and try to become the Bryan Danielson that he used to be before WWE? It's hard to say, although, I mean, WWE has been pretty good to him despite the medical issues that they've kept him out of the ring for the better part of a couple of years now, so it's hard to say. And also, matches continuing to shuffle around for the Super Showdown, which they now have a time announced on that. It's going to be on October 6th. That's a Saturday. In fact, that is just 6 weeks from today. But, well, interesting start time. In local Australia time, it's going to be 6 p.m., which means here on the East Coast, if you want to check it out, you're going to have to get up pretty early in the morning, as it's going to be at 4 a.m. Yeah, that's right. It's going to be just a little earlier than even that Beast from the East pay-per-view that happened over in Japan with, I think that was a 5 a.m. bell time on that one here in the East Coast. But you'll see The Undertaker and Triple H for the last time. You'll see Daniel Bryan and The Miz for a shot at the WWE Championship. You'll also see The Shield in action as they have reunited, and it feels so good. And also the tag team match now of John Cena and Bobby Lashley against Kevin Owens and Elias. So we'll see how that Aussie walk tends to go there. So we've got that coming up. Also, an interesting announcement from the NWA. The NWA World Heavyweight Championship, known as the 10 Pounds of Gold, will be defended at a blockbuster event celebrating the 70th anniversary of the National Wrestling Alliance, and that's going to be on Sunday, October 21st at 6 p.m. at the Historic Asylum at the Nashville Fairgrounds, which I believe, weren't the Nashville Fairgrounds, wasn't that where TNA initially did their tapings back in the early, or not tapings, but their weekly pay-per-views, I should say, back in the early 2000s? Yeah, I think so. The show, in conjunction with the NWA and Global Force Entertainment, another Jeff Jarrett thing there, will also be carried live on Fight TV, the premium digital streaming network. Founded in 1948 in In Waterloo, Iowa, the legacy of the NWA forged by the fighting spirit of world champions, and man, does it have a history. Lou Thez, Dory Funk Jr., Jack Briscoe, Harley Race, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, Sting, Ken Shamrock, AJ Styles, Jeff Jarrett, Adam Pearce, Colt Cabana, Tim Storm, and currently Nick Aldis. The famed 10 pounds of gold, the most identifiable and historic championship in professional wrestling, or at least so says the press release. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe it's nostalgia for me, but I'm thinking, for me, the most recognizable is the Winged Eagle WWF title. But again, that's just me, and that was only a short period in history, so maybe it's just a childhood thing, whereas the NWA title belt has been the same for all that time, so I don't know. For me, I'm all about the Winged Eagle, even though it was only around for just a decade. Some other NWA notes. Billy Corgan had purchased the NWA last year, and the 10 Pounds of Gold YouTube digital series has documented the path of NWA champions Tim Storm and now Nick Aldis. Aldis will be defending the belt on September 1st, 1 week from tonight, against the American Nightmare Cody at the All In event at the Sears Center just outside of Chicago, in front of, they apparently have an exact number already of 10,451 fans. How that's going to be, I guess because they have all the tickets sold, they can already determine the attendance. It'll also be on the line in the main event of the NWA 70th anniversary show, and they're basically trying to revive the brand here. It also says that a classic championship returns as a new NWA national champion will be crowned, and more matches and talents will be announced in the coming weeks, as well as times, ticket prices, and the price to stream live on Fight. It'll be the first full show of this new era, and they've been using their YouTube videos to reestablish the fizzling NWA brand when Corgan acquired it. And unlike the last time they attempted to revive the brand, I certainly hope that nobody's going to be throwing it down, a la Shane Douglas back in '94. They can all kiss my... Yeah, no, we're not going there. Oh, gosh. Crazy to think that was almost... Actually, yeah, next summer it'll be 25 years since Shane Douglas threw down that belt. Where does the time go? Also, some fun news here from Netflix. They announced on Monday that the Glow television series has been renewed for a third season. The first 2 seasons are available for streaming on Netflix, and the series was recently nominated for 6 Emmy Awards, including Outstanding Comedy Series, Directing for Jesse Peretz, and Supporting Actress for Betty Gilpin. Also some good stuff there. And kind of hopping around the dial a little bit here, Impact Wrestling. They announced TV tapings are going to be taking place on Thursday, September 13th and Friday the 14th at Fronton, Mexico in Mexico City, Mexico, marking the first time that their flagship weekly show Impact will emanate from south of the border. It'll feature top stars such as Impact World Champion Austin Aries, Johnny Impact, Eli Drake, Moose, Eddie Edwards, Sami Callihan, and Mexican superstars the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr., and Phoenix. Impact is broadcast across Mexico on Saturday nights at 9:30 p.m. on 52MX. And oddly enough, there's been a lot of buzz about Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix making the jump to WWE, so it's interesting to see them advertise for these shows in mid-September. And also good for Impact to get around at least a little bit as... they constantly being in Universal Studios, that tended to be more detrimental to them than you would think, as the overexposure is the issue by being in one place all the time. I mean, Toronto has been great for them, but they're moving the tapings around so that the Toronto fans don't become overexposed to the product, which was part of the problem with those Orlando tapings. Well, we're at about that time. Yep, it is a great day to browse and buy at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA, where today, from now until 5 o'clock, it is the Broken Goblet Public Yard Sale. Join B-Gob and other vendors selling wares, oddities, and widgets, including yours truly. I'll have various random things and quite a bit of wrestling stuff for sale, so come on out, drink, and peruse. Also, today is day 3 of the Liberty Music Fest, featuring 4 different acts on stage from 8 p.m. until midnight. So a lot of local music. Definitely want to check that out. And don't forget some of the other weekly features, including Sunday Bloody Marys and Bloody Flights, as well as Brews from noon to 5. Tuesdays bring Jackbox.tv onto the big screen, and it's free to play from your cell phone. Also, Wednesdays are open mic night with Brian Bortnick. Lucas has been up there a time or two for that, strumming the guitar and whatnot. Yeah, you can walk with him instead of Elias if you want. Why not? Thursdays have the house musician Mike Estabrook, who plays tunes and has the new Esta Bingo, which can help you win chances at a quarterly jackpot. Also, Fridays have live music from a variety of acts, and Saturdays are a hodgepodge of events. And the brews, well, there's a bunch, but on tap you've got the 2018 Bubba's Tea Bag, there's the Hefner, the German-style wheat beer, Gyroscopes and Infrared IPA, Pineapple Sweet Stash, their pineapple wheat beer, Steinbeiser's Buried Treasure Cream Ale, also Yin Yang Oatmeal Stout, just to name a few, constantly rotating. And part of the reason for the yard sale is, well, the Broken Goblet is moving soon. Yes, they are relocating to 2500 State Road in Bensalem, a much larger venue that will allow for a lot more things, including more brews, more people, more varieties of beer. As one of the things that they have in the new place is they'll be able to cold filter, which will get you the other half of the spectrum that they haven't really been able to tap, so you'll be able to have things like lagers available in the near future. So looking very, very forward to that. But in order to help make the move a little bit more smooth and not bring as much stuff over, they're going to have various things. I would imagine T-shirts, some glassware, just some stuff that may have been kind of buried over the last couple of years that they're able to unearth, and could be some collectibles that you might have missed out on. Who knows? I'm intrigued by it as well. I may just end up taking some of the money I make from selling and put it right back into that. Or not. Who knows? Anyway, just a few reasons why it's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Please enjoy responsibly. Coming back, we've got more stuff, including Today in Wrestling History. We've got birthdays, more news and notes, all this and more here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Looking for a new place to unwind after work? Grab a friend and make your way over to the happy hour at the Bluebell Inn in Montgomery County. Enjoy daily happy hour drink specials from 5 to 7 weeknights, plus half-price bar menu favorites like buffalo chicken bites, margarita flatbread, and buck-a-shuck oysters. And stick around for live music every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night on the Bluebell Inn's beautiful outdoor patio. Visit BluebellInn.com or call 215-646-2010 for more information.
Hi, this is Sarah Floyd, Director of Care Advocacy, and we're Bucks County Elder Law, a life care planning law firm. It's not easy talking to loved ones or friends about long-term care. However, the reality is things happen. And people are naturally lousy planners who tend to be overly optimistic. It's no fun reminding people that they may need long-term care. One way to get people to take action is to discuss the benefits of planning versus the consequences of not planning. At Bucks County Elder Law, we empower you to make the best legal, care, and planning decisions for you and your family. We invite you to call us today at 215-493-0727 to schedule a free initial consultation and to join us each Tuesday at 9 a.m. for Senior Legal Strategies right here on WBCB. And visit our website at www.buckscountyelderlaw.com.
Energy costs are skyrocketing. Now is the time to upgrade your old heater and air conditioning systems to more efficient units to save on your utility bills. Harris Comfort can also handle all your propane needs, as well as providing sales and service on whole house generators. Harris Comfort is still family owned and has been serving our area for over 60 years, providing sales, service, installation, and peace of mind. Call 215-788-4596 or go to harriscomfort.com. Harris Comfort, still family and still local.
Sweetie, want some fruit?
You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not.
For more information, visit health.pa.gov, paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, August 25. On this date in 1997, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Columbia, South Carolina. In the main event, Randy Savage fought Lex Luger to a no contest. On this date in 2002, WWE held its SummerSlam pay-per-view. In the main event, Brock Lesnar pinned The Rock to win the WWE Undisputed Championship. On this date in 2003, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Tucson, Arizona. In the main event, Shane McMahon fought Chris Jericho to a no contest. On this date in 2008, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In the main event, Batista defeated Kane by disqualification. This has been Today in Wrestling History, August 25.
You are listening to Pro Wrestling Weekly with Fearon Dairy.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Dairy here with you, solo, as Lucas is down at the 2300 Arena. He's helping set up for the Ring of Honor TV taping later tonight down at the 2300 Arena. So head on over and enjoy the show and say hi if you happen to see him, and if not, well, enjoy the show anyway. All right, so we got a little bit more time here to get into some stuff and things, and something I thought was pretty interesting. Hulk Hogan last week appearing on Bill Apter's After Chat podcast and addressed a few hot topics. Don't worry, Ted, they're not that hot that I'm going to get in trouble. You know me better than that. So some of the questions asked included on Hogan being a role model, and Hogan had to say here, "When I got in the business, I just wanted a job because I've always loved this business, but when the role model thing came along, I thought, okay, what's this about? Then you get to the point where you get used to it. Then the character Hulk Hogan starts making Terry Bollea the Man a better person. Then you thank God for it. Sometimes I forget how Hulk Hogan has affected so many people and I have to keep myself in check. And we make all these crazy mistakes, but it's about getting knocked down and getting back up and moving forward. Sometimes you forget how powerful that character was. You make mistakes and you have to keep in check. Believe me, I've learned from my mistakes to keep my rear end in check. It's been a learning curve." And he goes on from there. He was asked about John Cena replacing him as the top Make-A-Wish requested wrestler. He said, "The door that I cracked open, he just kicked it open and he did 1,000,000 times more work and he raised the bar. It's part of what I've been doing forever." He was also asked about his reaction to being removed from the WWE Hall of Fame, where he said, "Wrestling has been my life. I love wrestling. I'm recording SmackDown as we speak. I watch the network. I check out all the independent stuff going on. I'm the biggest mark there is. If you love the wrestling business, you love something new every day and you're still a mark. Every single day I learn something new. You can't say you know the business. It's in our blood. So when I got kicked out of the wrestling business, I didn't think I could recover. I really didn't. What people don't realize is when you get kicked out of the wrestling business for the reason that I did, the racial remarks, there's a huge ripple effect. Your phone doesn't ring. People you thought were your friends just disappear. Your phone ringing, it doesn't happen. The big stuff to me was being kicked out of wrestling, something you love, getting torn out of your chest. It was one of the toughest things that ever happened." He also talked about when WWE officials started to reach out to him. So he said, to fast forward radio silence for the first year and a half, and then out of nowhere, Triple H reached out to me. "Hey man, I hope you're doing well, at least the best you can." It meant he was concerned about me. That was really cool. I didn't get to know too many of the young guys back in the DX days, but when I heard from him, it gave me hope. Every once in a while he'd talk to me, we'd say a few words over the phone. It was really cool, but I never talked to Vince. Then Triple H and I started talking a little more this year about possibilities. I told him things I'm doing with a charity that gives legs to kids with prosthetic legs. There are so many kids who can't afford to have legs. I was telling Triple H what I was up to with my little beach shops that I have going, and every once in a while I'd have an autograph signing, and everyone was so nice. White, black, indifferent, doesn't matter what race, color, or creed. They'd get in line and say, "We love you and we stand behind you." If they did want to talk about the racial slur, they would say, "Ma'am, we know who you are and it was a mistake." The people were so gracious, and it gave me this gracious hope that maybe someday I could get back on my feet with the brothers in the wrestling business. So then he was asked about talking with Vince McMahon again. And he said, so fast forwarding, we started talking, and Triple H knew what I was doing with the Boys and Girls Club, and there was a common bond there. So then we started talking about different things like Saudi Arabia and things like that. I said, I'd really like to talk to Vince. I'd text Vince on his birthdays, and he texted me on New Year's and stuff like this, but we never had a good conversation. And all of a sudden it's, "Hey, Monster, how you doing?" And so we talked. We had been texting, but it was so good to hear his voice. He hasn't changed a bit. It was the same old intense Vince. We talked, and it was a great conversation. We talk every couple of months or so, and Triple H said, I think it's time you have a conversation with yourself, and do you really want to do anything with wrestling? I said, oh my God, I'd love to. One of the things we agreed upon is they wanted to bring me back, but we want you to talk to the black athletes. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. If I come back, I want to talk to everybody. What I did hurt not only the business, it hurt white, black, every athlete you have, Japanese, everyone who loves this business. I dropped us all down a notch. So I wanted to come back and talk to everybody. That's how it happened. I flew into Cleveland a few weeks ago because they had extreme rules in Pittsburgh. I thought I could maybe slide in there, do what I needed to do, and slide out. I flew into Cleveland, was going to drive to Pittsburgh, but when I landed in Cleveland, the fans were there. They stalk you, they find you. So I kind of was surprised. I thought we could sneak in. Me and Jimmy Hart were together, so we spent the night there. Pat Patterson shows up. He flied to Cleveland. He said, I heard you were coming back. I just love being around Pat. He's one of my closest friends in the business. We laughed and joked in the car on the way to Pittsburgh. We get to Pittsburgh, but right before I got to the building, my phone was blowing up going, congratulations, you're back in the Hall of Fame. I had no idea. I thought we were just going to talk. It made me grin from ear to ear. I didn't start crying because I had two other men with me. He also talks about his speech to the locker room, and he says, I figured all the talent was there, so I thanked them for the time. First thing I want to do is tell you guys, 12 years ago I said something that 3 years ago just came to light, and I want to apologize for everything I said. I can give you the woe is me story and tell you all the things, all the reasons why I was in the space I was in, the dark, dark space. Everybody's got an excuse, but the truth is I said these things 12 years ago, and I didn't even know they were said 3 years ago. I can't remember what I said last weekend, much less 12 years ago. When I said it, I was in a fit of anger. I did say it. I'm accountable. That's not who I am. It's not how I feel. It's not what I believe. When I said it, I was very, very mad at a situation. But I did say it was inappropriate, it was out of context, it was hurtful, it was unacceptable, and I did it. And I apologized and said if you guys can ever forgive me, I'll be forever grateful. I wanted to be sure that that was my one train of thought, that what I said was out of character, and when I was mad, and it was the worst thing anybody could ever say, and I am so sorry. Those of you who know me, you know I'm not like that, but those who don't know me, who have only been working here a couple of years, let me prove myself that you know who I am. I wanted to be sure that was my one train of thought, that I got to apologize and was accountable that I did say it, and I'm sorry. Then I switched gears to Plan B, and I said, now I want to let you guys know this is the biggest spotlight in the world. WWE is the biggest spotlight in the world. If you're a little star, don't even slip on a banana peel. Try not to make any mistakes like I made. When you're a big star and you make a big mistake, you'll be on the front page of every newspaper, every magazine. I made a mistake, and the WWE machine is so big and made me such a big star, everyone knows what's going on, so please be careful. Everyone has cell phones and cameras. Be careful. I had the train of thought A and the train of thought B, and I made it as clear as I could possibly make it. I admit I was nervous. I had never been that nervous in my life talking to my peers. Those were my two things. A lot of people accepted my apology. A lot of people heard what they wanted to hear. A lot of the narrative that came out of that meeting was off point. A lot of the narrative was really different because I was surprised to hear some people interpreted what I said, that I was just sorry I got caught on camera. I never said that. But I guess sometimes the media and the people go with the most negative narrative that can come out there. That's pretty much what happened. So it's an interesting interview, and there was a lot more that came out of it, also talking about the those who didn't quite, whether or not they understood the brotherhood, I suppose. And he said that in this case, it's a situation where 75, 80, 90% of the wrestlers are protecting me, and they're giving me another chance to, move forward. There's just a few wrestlers that kind of like don't understand the bond and the brotherhood of wrestling, and if someone makes a mistake, you need to forgive them and move on and try to let them prove themselves. But I just wish I could have one-on-one conversations with people who don't know me and try to explain myself better. All in all, it was a great day and a highlight of my life to be back in the Hall of Fame and be able to move forward. It's been a great time these past couple of weeks. So it goes on from there, and you'll definitely, you want to check that out, as it was an interesting chat between Bill Apter and Hulk Hogan, somebody who has definitely gotten a little bit of the media attention over the years. So we are just a little bit, we only got a few minutes left here, so I believe that is time for... Yeah, that's right, you got it. So we've got 6 Brucey bonuses. Man, they just keep packing on here. So on this date in 1931, Regis Francis Xavier Philbin was born. The TV personality, talk show host, and game show host known for Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, or Live with Regis and Kelly, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and was a guest interviewer and commentator at WrestleMania 7, and has a Guinness World Record for most hours on television at almost 17,000 hours. He turns 87 today. On this date in 1971, Michael John Lockwood was born. The former 22-time hardcore champion, better known as Crash Holly, died in 2003 at the age of 32 from suicide by drug overdose. They can't all be pretty, folks. On this date in 1972, David Williams was born. The former NWA Wildside and TNA wrestler who was part of Glenn Gilberti's New York Connection, and better known as David Young, turns 46 today. Now to the Brucey bonuses, things outside of the world of wrestling, and this is a very eclectic mix, to say the least. On this date in 1930, Sir Thomas Sean Connery was born. The Academy Award and Golden Globe-winning Scottish actor and producer, best known for being the first actor to portray the James Bond character in the movies, starring in 7 Bond films between 1962 and 1983, but also having significant roles in movies like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, The Hunt for Red October, and Highlander. He turns 88 today. And in a way, Connery was, thanks to Saturday Night Live, introduced to a younger audience thanks to the Celebrity Jeopardy bits, of course, with Will Ferrell as Alex Trebek, and Daryl Hammond playing Connery, and, having the hysterical barbs that, went a little far as how Trebek went. Those things were hysterical, but no, Sean Connery, a great actor and obviously very well retired at 88. On this date in 1949, Gene Klein was born. The musician, singer, and songwriter best known as the bassist and co-lead singer for the rock band Kiss. As Tony Schiavone said, the greatest rock band in the world. Yes, Gene Simmons, he turned 68 today. On this date in 1958, Timothy Walter Burton was born, the film director and producer known for films including Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, Batman, as well as Batman Returns. Yeah, you remember those with Michael Keaton as Batman. Also, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Alice in Wonderland, as well as Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah, I didn't know that he did that, although... still get frightened from that dream sequence with the clowns. Anyway, Tim Burton, you probably know him better as. He turns 60 today. On this date in 1961, William Ray Cyrus was born. The singer, songwriter, and actor best known for his 1992 country music #1 hit Achy Breaky Heart, bringing the rise of country line dancing to popularity, and also known for being the father of Hannah Montana actress turned pop sex symbol Miley Cyrus. Yep, Billy Ray Cyrus, he turns 57 today. On this date in 1968, Rachel Ray was born. The TV personality and celebrity chef who owns her own syndicated talk and lifestyle program, as well as 3 Food Network series, 30-Minute Meals, Rachel Ray's Tasty Travels, and $40 a Day, she turns 50 today. And finally, on this date in 1978, Kel Johari Rice Mitchell was born. The actor and stand-up comedian known for his work as a cast member of the Nickelodeon series All That, as well as Kenan and Kel, and Good Burger, he turns 40 today. We'll be back next week. Ted Efaw's next with Country Roads. Play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all's well.
celebrating 60 years of broadcasting excellence. We're 1490 WBCB.